There are a lot of games that assume a linear stance of progression. Games that simply lead you on a path where the extent of the character interactions between NPCs and enemies are what I would place under the nomenclature of linear. The thing that can truly prevent a game from assuming that linear stance is a rival. Someone who can match your skill and you can grow with throughout the course of the story, usually resulting in an astounding final battle. Rivals explored in games are something that can make a mediocre game amazing for me, especially if they bring questions of morality into the game's world. And the battles fought between them are the culmination of all the experiences between these two entities throughout the entire story, which is exactly what I will be focusing on in this list. To narrow down this list, I need to establish what qualifies as a rival. A rival under most conditions will not be a villain, so Sonic and Eggman, for example, do not qualify for this list. What will set a rival above others will be their relationship with the main character, how the actual battle itself plays out, and especially if their battle blurs the lines of morality for the game. So with that, this is my opinion of the top 10 rivalries in gaming.
Now it's brilliant! On to victory!
The life of an assassin is a confusing one. You never know what side you are truly on. You only know that you're entrusted with taking the lives of your enemies. But at what point do you decide who's deserving of death or life? Such can be seen with the Templars and Assassins in Assassin's Creed. While it is very obvious that the enemy that you are fighting are the Templars, it is all a matter of where the orders are coming from. The twist in the story that can be seen is whenever you are forced to battle the Assassin's leader Al-Mualim. So it makes you question what exactly have you been fighting for this entire time, and if the rivalry that has been bred between the Assassins and Templars is really worth the bloodshed. Something that is very unique is a rivalry that isn't created in-game, but rather is created by the medium, such as the rivalry between Mario and Sonic. But I'm thinking of something a bit more frightening. Alien and Predator have had a feud that has been around since the creation of extraterrestrial horror. The medium that it was spread through found many similarities between the two, so naturally they were brought together in the Alien vs Predator series. These two interest me because their battles are one not of which is the better Alien per se, but more of which franchise is stronger, because the player has the power to completely predict the outcome of their battle by playing as the Alien or the Predator. Fighting games feature a lot of rivalries. It's practically the foundation of what they're built on. Because I mean, the best way to solve an argument is to beat the shit out of the other person, right? I learned that from America. With numerous amounts of rivalries to choose from, I decided to default to one of the originals, Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter. Ryu and Ken are a special case for rivals. They in no way hate each other. In fact, it is the exact opposite. They have been best friends since they were kids. However, they have both been training in the same style of martial arts all of their lives, and when it comes down to it, one has to prove himself above the other, making for truly an epic battle. However, I guess Ken will never win, since Ryu is the poster boy. Oh well. Let's see if we can get him into Smash 5. A lot of games establish rivals between two characters in an already established universe with backstories. Castle Crashers is rather different in that regard, because the true rivals in this story aren't in the game, but they're the ones sitting next to you playing along. Castle Crashers is one of my favorite games, and it comes packed with a bunch of amazing boss fights. However, what I look forward to is what comes after some of the boss fights. In the game, there are 4 princesses, and as the game dictates, they need rescuing, so you and your friends have to fight all the baddies away to get your princess back. But of course, you have to kiss the princess whenever you rescue her, because, well, tropes! But who gets the kiss? This is one thing I have always loved from Castle Crashers. Your greatest rivalry is with your friends, and what are you fighting over? Poontang! Although sometimes, you'll learn that fighting your friends for what you want can sometimes come with poor repercussions. The animal world is filled with rivalries because, well, I guess they all want to eat each other. 2 animals that probably don't have rivalries are the fox and the wolf. Doesn't mean we can't have that in a video game. Team Star Fox and Team Star Wolf have had a long-standing rivalry since their introduction. Does it make sense that there are teams led by a fox and a wolf disputing rivalries through dogfights in space? Hell no. But is it awesome? Well, you're damn right it is. Star Wolf acts as an interesting twist for the game, as they oscillate between the role of a classic villain and more of a pack of anti-heroes, sometimes helping Star Fox to defeat a greater evil, like the Aperoids. I mean, Wolf is so similar to Fox that they even made him a clone of Fox in Smash. Oh, Mega Man, what a timeless classic that has slowly been bastardized throughout the years. You just keep on killing it, Capcom, you're going good. All Capcom jokes aside, there are plenty of rivalries to be observed in Mega Man, but what about the rivalry that brought all the rest to life? Dr. Light and Dr. Wily are observably at different ends of the spectrum. See what I did there? Just light. They started out as scientists working towards the same goal, but they deviated off of their shared path, and they soon came to recognize each other as rivals. And their rivalry is what put the entire series into motion. So I guess their ultimate battle isn't between each other, but between the fruits of their labor. In gaming history, there has never been a debate as big as the Bit Wars. The war between the iconic companies of Sega and Nintendo. So naturally their mascots, Sonic and Mario, had to square off somehow. While I do think the feud between the two characters is cool, no amount of Olympic athleticism will ever top Sonic's original rival, Knuckles the Echidna. Starting in the adventure of Sonic 3, the red powerhouse of Knuckles the Echidna was introduced, originally as a villain. But he slowly grew on Sonic in the hearts of the fan base. Since then, he has always been presented as an ally to Sonic, but the two always compete for the limelight. While I could very easily put Shadow on here in place of Knuckles, I still believe Knuckles and Sonic have a more fleshed out history, attaining Knuckles the number 4 spot on this list. So did you ever just have that kid in your childhood that you wanted to smash? Like, not the video game, just straight up 3rd grade brawl on the playground. Well, that's basically the idea behind that prick named Blue. Blue, being the less douchey version of Gary from the cartoons, had to make it onto this list somehow. He's a great rival because you have all the reason in the world to hate him. I mean, he's a tool, first of all. He chooses the exact Pokemon that has an advantage over yours, and he always tries to kill your progress by battling you. I mean, the guy's such an ass that his own grandpa doesn't know his name. Yep, that's right, Grandpa. His name is, in fact, Asshat. I guess your kids just preferred the exotic names. Probably the worst thing about Blue is that even though he is a jerk, you still have to respect him because he became the champion before you. He did everything that you could, except a little bit faster, making this one rivalry to remember. Oh well, at least you have to kill his Raticate. I've established throughout this video that a fight that will blur the lines of a character's choices and actions will always improve the game for me. But it's even better to fight the person who has been establishing the theme of blurred morals throughout the entire game. To me, Jetstream Sam is one of the most well-crafted characters in all of gaming. He is by definition your enemy, but only because he is hired to be so. His actions throughout the course of Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance reflect not that of an evil man, but one who has accepted what his life is. He lives as a mercenary, meant to do the one thing he knows best: killing. The most interesting part of his character is that he realizes this about himself, and he sees it in Raiden too. So naturally, he uses it to torment Raiden. Throughout the entire story, Sam prevents this imposing force not only mentally, but also physically as well. I mean, he practically made sushi out of Raiden in their first battle. After their first standoff, Raiden is presented with Sam as being an enemy, but he's also someone that Raiden must prove to be able to conquer. All of this surmounts in an amazing final battle, which is admittedly simplistic, but in the best way possible. It's just two men, decked out with cybernetic enhancements and swords. Both men know that their entire lives have come to this point and only one will walk away. One of the greatest revelations that comes from Sam's character is what you discover after you beat him. He was barely using any cybernetic enhancements. He was just simply that great of a fighter. Which then presents the player with the question of, did Sam really deserve to lose that fight? Oh, and his sword is fucking awesome. Something that really pisses me off in games is whenever a plot piece comes out of absolutely nowhere. Most of the time this has a negative impact, but sometimes it manages to do it just right if the presentation is spectacular. A game that always seems to be very aware of where to put plot twists and other things of that sort is Kirby. Kirby is presented in such a harmless manner that these twists, of sometimes demonic proportions, hit you very hard. However, you might be thinking, well, the only rival that Kirby really has is Meta Knight, right? Well, I am talking about Meta Knight, but the rivalry at hand is a little pinker. Galactic Knight is an amazing rival for Meta Knight simply because he is one of the strongest warriors who has ever lived. And trust me, he lives up to that title. The setup for this battle is really what I love about it. It's just a matter of Meta Knight wanting to prove himself as the great warrior that he is. So he had Nova summon a warrior that was sealed away because he was that strong. Galactic Knight appears and he looks badass, and his fighting skills are on par with his appearance. He is incredibly strong and is a rather enjoyable challenge to a relatively easy game. The thing that sets Galactic Knight above the rest for me is the fact that he is completely unexpected, and he isn't even really the final boss. He is simply a great warrior that is the last roadblock between Meta Knight and his goal. Thank you for watching this video. Could someone please get this cat off of my elbow?